discussing the business of making and spending money.
Hello, you're welcome to today's edition of Money Radio on Leadership Podcast. Money Radio, of course, is that program that brings to you Nigeria's business and economy cycles, and of course, issues of businesses around the world. My name is Innocent Odo, and today we're going to look at a very important issue in the agri sector. The Chinese are on it again, trying to assist Nigeria with their Juncao technology, with which the nation can at least fight desertification in some parts of the country, and of course to grow food to develop Nigerians and feed the nation and other parts of Africa, and of course add value to the nation's economy by putting effort in making sure that we grow our green economy in this time that the country is facing serious hardship of downturn in the oil sector. And so we have a full package in using this technology to advance the cost of agriculture in the country, and of course employ the teeming youths who will embrace this technology and find a way in which we can, domesticate this technology to become part of the country. And so it's very important that our collaboration, that is diplomatic collaboration with the Chinese, beginning to yield fruits in these areas where agriculture has become the major theme of these diplomatic ties with China. The Chinese ambassador and a whole lot of other experts in the agriculture sector were on ground today at an event this morning, where each one of them placed commitment and serious effort to ensure that this particular Juncao technology is brought in from China and domesticated in Nigeria, which will help us also grow very essential agricultural items like even mushroom, that is beginning to become very essential in the food staple of Nigeria and other parts of the world. So it's on this note that I welcome you to today's edition of the Money Radio, and we're going to look at the variables surrounding this application of this technology to Nigeria, and how we're going to deepen the discussion about it and use it to develop our agri sector. I'm not alone in the studio. I'm here with my regular guest on the program, Kes Hammond. Kes, you're welcome to the program.
Thanks. It's a pleasure being here.
You're looking smart today.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, we have on the virtual platform Paul Wadima. If you can join us, Paul, if you can hear us. Hello, Paul. Okay, he's not ready yet to join us. Maybe in a couple of minutes later, he'll be available to participate in the discussion in the studio here. Yes, we now have an additional advantage. Jincao technology. The Chinese intend to bring it here to help us in the war against desertification. Now, we have a problem in the northeastern part of the country where desert encroachment had actually, coupled with the issues of climate change, have actually caused a serious damage to the environment, and driving away farmers and other inhabitants from that region, especially the herders, and they are actually coming down here, and we see the kind of crisis that has been causing. So with this kind of technology, because I understand, like the Chinese ambassador, Mr. Q Jianchun, said, they are going to use that to, in fact, try to reclaim some of the lost areas in the northeastern and other parts of northern part of the country that we have lost those ground due to desertification. How do you receive this kind of information?
I think it's good news. First of all, I must commend you. You pronounce the Chinese names very well.
Thank you.
So I think it's a positive development. We share, when it comes to desertification or desert, we have some similarities with China. China has desert, and they were able to come up with this technology.
Yes.
And they have tested it in some other parts of Africa, especially in the Sahel. You see places like Tanzania, and those places, they have gotten some good results. That means similar thing can be replicated here. It's possible. And if that is done, that is good news. When I say good news, I mean so much of it good news that you can compare it with the discovery of additional oil wells.
Interesting.
Yes. How so? Desertification has actually affected Nigeria negatively. When we see bandits roaming about, when we see food shortage, when we see mass migration from one part of the country to the other, it's as a result of desertification.
Yes.
And once we can begin to reclaim that land, there is a vast expanse of fallow land
Mm.
in northern
North
Nigeria
yes.
that is not being farmed because
Mm.
it's desert.
Yes.
But once we begin to have plants like what the Chinese are introducing
Mm.
using Juncao technology,
Yes.
we're going to have, plants have a way, their roots have a way of holding the soil together.
Mm.
Once they can hold the soil together, you have nutrients that will be
Yes.
trapped in that that let me say holding together.
Mm.
And once the nutrients are trapped, you begin to see other plants germinate.
Yes.
And before you know it, reclamation is being done. Yes. And so that's why we say it's a positive development,
Yeah.
real positive development, when Nigeria, through her development partner, China, one of our development partners, can actually come up with such technology to
Yes.
reclaim that land. In the past, a number of state governments and the federal government have been making effort to reclaim the land. Of course, we see examples, we see there have been examples in the past where state governments have undertaken, as well as the federal government, to do tree planting.
Yes.
Yes. While there have been some challenges in that area, we see that this one, since it has been tested in another desert area,
Mm.
such as Tanzania, and they are yielding results that can be replicated here. And that is, as we said earlier, another oil well
Another
being
oil
used.
well. And there's another demonstration that in that event that's actually captured the attention of a lot of experts and of course other stakeholders in that sector, which is the growing of mushrooms.
Yes.
Now, this came as a very important item on the table, and the experts are about discussing it. This technology they are talking about now will enhance the production of mushrooms.
Yeah.
Apart from the mushroom, it also enhances, there is a particular kind of grass that he has in its production, which can be used to, like we said, hold the soil together and prevent this impact of this desertification. So
Yes.
we have multiple uses
Yes.
of this technology. And so it has become incumbent on the Nigerian government and stakeholders in the sector to do as fast as possible to be able to embrace this. And but the problem, however, is how then do we domesticate this technology?
That's where training programs, educational exchange
Mm.
will be necessary. We have our biotech institutions in Nigeria.
Yes.
Uh, they have been doing well. They have been trying to introduce genetically modified cotton, cowpeas, and other things to withstand the pressure from the desert. Having said that, they have had, to some extent, limited success.
Mm.
But this technology is going to add, and when so what the federal government needs to do is bring this, embrace this technology, go into partnership with China, and if possible, there can be technology exchange,
Yes.
technology transfer, and before you know it, we will be on.
Now it has been
Uh,
okay. Go ahead.
the technology is that Junkao
Mm.
is actually like a medium or a raw material which can enhance bringing the soil together, decomposition, bring cohesion and symbiosis of
Mm.
plants, soil, plants. So with the, I think it's a positive development.
It is.
It's a positive
You
development.
know
It
how.
should be embraced.
Yes.
The federal government shouldn't have any reason to go about?
Yes, but the thing is, there's always a very massive effort. A project like this will always involve funding and massive investment because of the nature and character. If you want to engage a lot of the young people in a massive area of land that we have, if you want to reclaim the land areas that have been lost to desertification, you need real massive resources, funding, which of course the national budget of Nigeria at this point in time may struggle to accommodate because of some strains in the economy. But there's also some assistance from the United Nations. You have that's the SDG program, the social sustainable development programs of
Yeah.
the UN, and other like China as well, and other development partners. Are collaborating with the NEPAD and the Nigerian Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. So it's a massive collaborative effort. But the thing, however, is that talking about the funding, how much of the funds can we really bring to the table while waiting for the other international organizations to help in the long run?
Like you said, there are international organizations that are helping, but there is need for some sort of brinkmanship
Mm.
in this this issue, and that is where the federal government needs to take charge because it is our project. It's going to benefit the federal government.
Mm.
Now, there, if you look at the budget, you see that there are a number of expenditure that are not development driven,
Mm.
but such expenditure as a result of circumstances. Take, for example, security, the
Yes.
military. Right now, there is need to actually fund the army, to fund the military, and it's parastatal because of insecurity.
Mm.
But imagine we had that military actually takes, I think, the highest in the
Greater
country's
chunk of
budget
the yes,
uh,
budget, yes.
for this year.
Yes.
Having said that, if we had less of the security concerns that we are having right now, and we had the funds that are devoted to security going to other sectors like the agriculture sector, those will mitigate the problems that cause the insecurity we are having in the first place. And once that is done, I think once people have jobs, once young people have jobs to do, once they have means of livelihood,
Mm.
once they have a way of surviving, such things will be mitigated.
Mm.
And I think we can learn a lesson from that because there was a time not so much of the funds that are devoted to the military were devoted to the military, but those funds were supposed to be channeled to other developmental areas,
Yes, yes.
but they were, I don't like to use the word mismanaged,
Mm.
but not
But
much of it was.
that is another question that
Yes,
will always issues that will always raise.
yes,
Why the international community and development partners are also making frantic efforts to support Nigeria in this regard. The issue of effective management, efficient management of resources to achieve this purpose will always present a challenge because of the Nigerian way of doing things. Anyway, we are going to discuss that when we come back from this short break.
yeah,
If you're just joining us, we're discussing how to apply the Juncao technology from China to fight desertification in Nigeria, and of course, road food in order to avoid the living food crisis threatening the country. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with the discussion. Don't go away.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we're on to Leadership Podcast and we're Money Radio. Our discussion has been on the application of Juncao Technology from China to fight desertification in Nigeria, and of course to help Nigeria grow its agricultural sector for the betterment of the economy of the country. And so I've been in the studio with Kes Hammond, and we've been trying to do justice to this very important topic. Kes, before we went to that short break, we've been talking about, yes, there is collaboration now. It appears serious according to the presentations made by stakeholders in this particular event about how to apply the technology to help Nigeria solve this problem of food deficit, especially fighting the desertification. Now, this is not the first time that efforts have been made in such a grand, measure to fight what is a menace, a scourge to Nigeria. The problem, however, is always lack of commitment, poor management, inefficiency, lack of effectiveness in the way officials of government manage very lofty ideas like this. And at the end of the day, it all ends in conferences and workshops, and then the real action on the field is not taken.
Absent completely.
Completely in most cases. So, how do we liberate? Permit me to use the word liberation, because we need to liberate ourselves from this precedent of not doing things in the proper way. If we want to do things the proper way, if we don't do this thing in a proper way, we may not achieve the desired result, and therefore the problem will continue to mount. Now, there was one specific a statement, credited to the Chinese ambassador, Mr. Jianchun, where he said that even countries like Rwanda has actually embraced this technology and have applied this technology to their system, and they've been productive. You could see the results. If it is when to produce grasses needed for a particular purpose, like feeding animals, for growing animal husbandry, you can see them in abundance. So this technology is already working in a country like Tanzania and some other countries, to produce even animal feeds. So you can see that there's a whole value chain that can be obtained from this technology. Now, it has come to Nigeria. The question of domestication. Yes, they will say it in conferences, but coming down home, what does it really take, Kes, to bring something home and make it to begin to work in a proper sense?
This issue we're talking about is not just affecting Nigeria. When I say it's not just affecting Nigeria, Nigeria has endured, or Nigeria has had to suffer our own the negative effects of desertification. And that is why we see, like we mentioned earlier, rural-urban drift, especially of cattle and other animals. Yes. And we know that once we begin to grow grasses in the north, such drift, which is causing farmer herder crisis and other menace that we'll find around, will reduce. Having said that, the world is a global village. And being a global village, what affects a country and its people here affects people everywhere. Um, a simple example is just what is going on in Ukraine. We know that we are suffering it here.
Yes.
This is the global village, and that is what happens.
Yeah.
Now, if Nigeria suffers, there will be spillover effects to other countries. It has refugee implications. It has so many implications. Yes. So when we talk about development and we talk about partnership, this development partnership should be forged because it's a large population of people that are affected in the north. So this development partnership should be forged. Having said that, Nigeria, there has to be not just a symbiosis, but we have to. There's need for that close partnership, communication, so that when one partner is taking this action, it does not negate or is a repeat of the action of the next person, so that there will be maximum use of resources. So there is need for that partnership, close partnership, not just on paper but on the ground. Now, having said that, I need to mention here that usually these development partners, when they bring their money, they don't just give it to the federal government and say we are donating this or this is our share of what is needed as resources to to, to to carry out this project. No, that's not the way. They send their people from wherever it is, be it China, be it the United Nations, be it the US, be it Europe. They send their people and sit on ground from whatever they are devoting to that partnership. Their people are paid for it and become and make their own inputs. And when they make their input, Nigeria makes our own input. And so it is not that they are giving Nigeria money, physical cash to say, go ahead with this project. So that is less worry. Nigeria must do her own part. And those people, whoever the partners are, must do their part. And once people do their part, and there is no need for negating the action of the other party or uh, repeating the action of the other party, there will be maximum effect. So there is need for that partnership. And that partnership, we need devotion. And when I say devotion, I mean people.
Commitment.
That's the word, commitment. People need. There's need for commitment because, like we said earlier, desertification affects everybody. What happens here affects people everywhere.
Everywhere, yes.
The migrant crisis that Europe is having is as a result of some of these things we're talking about here. So there is need for real commitment on the part of all parties. What happens in any part of the world affects every part of the world. That's the way the world is.
Yes, yeah, and of course, climate smart agriculture.
Yes, as climate, they also has implication for climate change. Yeah.
So you can see that it's a whole lot of effort.
Yes.
Now, you think about it, Kes. When we have to reclaim the environment, trees will be planted, young people will be engaged, and in some cases, more than ever, I'm supposed to, from available records, Nigeria needs about 100,000 trees and more, to be planted in areas that have been encroached by desert encroachment.
Yes.
Let me put it that way. So you can see that this effort should be immediate.
It should be immediate.
And the government has to take it upon itself. Both state, federal, and local government will have to begin to sensitize the people to tell them that, look, the impact of the environment on agriculture, on our land system, on our water system is big. And we on our own have to create that awareness for them to understand that even if you're going to do climate smart agriculture that this technology is about to support now, there are certain practices that this technology will help you to apply so that the old practices that even cause harm to the environment and harm to the farmers will be reduced. Now you can see the climate smart agriculture will improve by little effort, will actually improve the yields.
Yeah.
With little effort.
Yes.
And then also stabilize the environment and make it more productive, while also giving more jobs to the young people to do. So you can see that this whole effort is really, really all-encompassing and is going to produce very, very multiple results that are of significance to the nation's economy. But what we worry, however, is sometimes the sustainability ratio of these projects, especially coming to the government side. Agency collaboration in issues like this will always present a challenge. So we must to address the issue of this agency collaboration and lack of commitment, and of course the deeper understanding of the real issues and how to invest and do proper investment, because it's not every investment that you make in a situation like this that will actually produce any results.
Yeah.
So how then do we now locate the project, domesticate it in a proper sense, and then do the real investment in it?
There's the Ministry of Agriculture, of
Yes.
course. The Ministry of Agriculture is there, and I'm sure they have all of these programs, and they have all of these issues or these programs mapped out. They know where there is need for action when it comes to this issue of desertification, and I'm sure they were part of this
Yes.
conference.
So they were there.
It's just, when all parties are brought to the table and the issues are discussed, there should be delegation of responsibilities. When those responsibilities are properly delegated, then once once there is that commitment from the head, it flows down easily. I'm sure the Ministry of Agriculture knows where action is supposed to be taken right now. So with this technology, they just need to liaise with the Chinese partners and other development partners, and those kind of things should be sorted out without so much stress. But having said all of this, we need to consider the fact that usually, like you mentioned earlier, these things are usually discussed at conferences and roundtables, and people go and have lunch and seminars and all of that. The people who really need to be involved are
the ordinary farmers.
Yes. Those are the people who really need to be educated. This technology needs to be transferred to them.
Yes, down to the what they call it, smallholder farmers.
The
smallholder farmers.
They make up the bulk.
About over 70%
exactly
of the farmers in the country are smallholder farmers, and these people are. This program is targeted to such people.
Yeah.
The issue is that how much of this program can then go down to the grassroots, where the real farmers, the smallholder farmers, can embrace this knowledge, embrace this technology, domesticate this technology using government-approved standard and methods to be able to help them to adjust to the new system, because we're talking about climate-smart agriculture.
Yeah.
And if you have to take it down the grassroots, that is when the message will begin to make more sense to the people, rather than coming to the high capitals like Abuja and maybe Lagos, Port Harcourt, or any other place, holding conferences and the seminars and workshops, and then the whole thing doesn't trickle down. They speak all the big grammar there, and the whole thing doesn't trickle down. So I am thinking of a method. Could it be that we're going to use the National Orientation Agency, or we're going to use the Agri Extension System? There must be a system.
I think the Agri Extension System is the better option, because this National Orientation Agency, I hardly hear about them. It's only in the studio I hear about them, or we talk about them.
But they exist.
They exist. They are, keeping that agency running requires part of the country's budget. So they are budgeted for, they are funded. So I don't know what they really do. I hardly notice their presence anywhere. So the Ministry of Agriculture should actually be, because they are closer to the people.
Yes.
The farmers.
All right.
Yes. And so I think they should be.
All right, guys. I think we're out of time, and I wish we have all the time to continue, because this is a very important topic. Thank you so much, Kes Hammond, for being a part of the program for us today. It's always a pleasure having you on the program.
Thank you very much.
It's on that note that we draw the curtains of today's edition of Money Radio on your darling leadership podcast. We promise to bring you a bumper edition next time we come. Goodbye and stay blessed.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.